Hello everybody, and here, and welcome back to Bye Bye Earth episode 10, the finale, apparently. Yeah, it kind of came to me as a surprise as well, that it's just 10 episodes long. Not 12, not 13, not 24, not 25, just 10. Very unusual amount, not even counted in course. So, I really wonder what this finale is actually gonna be, because I can only see it going two ways essentially, and I wonder which one it will be. Now, let's maybe talk about the previous episode first, right? Episode 9. In episode 9, Belle finally went for the final exam, I guess, for being a nomad, and she failed. She she was sat in front of a piano and was tasked to play the music of her soul or whatever. She could get a single note out of it, so that was already something, but she couldn't feel anything more, and because of that, she failed. She was asked if she wants to stay here in this country then, as such, and she said no. I'm still gonna travel regardless of me failing or succeeding. It's not something I'm willing to give up on. I'm gonna stay temporarily, but I'm gonna be out. Like, make no mistake. So I wonder if she's going to move out despite not being a nomad, or is she going to stick around and then try again? This time around, she failed. From what she said, she failed because she felt lonely. She felt profound loneliness, and it was that bit missing from being able to create music for her. So if she gets Adonis back, or maybe if she gets the help of Kitty Viol, that would be preferable. Or maybe Bennett, or maybe others. I don't know. That might be something to consider. She did get that vision of everybody being behind her and everybody supporting her. So kind of odd that it was loneliness that screwed her. We learned a bit though from that exam. A bit, well, we didn't really learn that directly, but it's something that we can pretty safely surmise, I'd say, in that being a nomad makes you an outcast from any country, from any city. You can hold no citizenship, essentially. But in exchange for that, you gain the power to break barriers between countries. I have a suspicion that there are actual physical or magical barriers erected on the borders of countries, and if you're not a nomad, you simply don't possess the magic that allows you to pass through them or cut a way open or whatever, right? If you're just a Johnny Bobbert who plays music for carrots, then you're not going to be able to pass through that barrier. You're going to approach it, you're going to touch it, and it's just going to be a solid wall, right? Only a nomad is able to do that, but they give up their belonging to any nation in exchange. So that's interesting. It's also interesting that there even are other countries, other lands with their own deities, perhaps? I wonder. I actually started wondering if maybe gods or trees or whatever you want to call them are some sort of a terraforming attempt. Maybe, right? We have reasons to believe that they are made of non-machines. So actually, I don't think I have that one theory noted down. So allow me to quickly note it. Oh, we're gonna have a lot of theories to go through. Cancer, sword, gods are terraforming machines. Right. So Belle fails ultimately, but doesn't lose her spirit. She's like, okay, sure, I failed, but I'm not gonna fail next time. And if I do, I'm gonna try again and again and again and again and again. And if I keep failing, I'm just gonna go despite my failures. I'm just not gonna be a nomad, but I'm still gonna go. And maybe there's something to that. Her sword is utopia after all, and utopia would be a world without barriers. So maybe her sword would actually allow her to pass between countries. I don't know, we'll see about that. The second segment was about Adonis, also trying to take on this exam and failing because of aimlessness or lack of goal. Right? He said that he wasn't even able to give a single note, to play a single note, because he has no reason to be a nomad. He has no reason to move. He has no reason to travel. Which is surprising, because I thought that his motivation is, I want to find out what the fuck is the thing with my curse, and to do that I'm gonna need to travel. Right? I really thought that's his motivation, but apparently I was mistaken, or his motivation was not strong enough. I don't know. After that, after he fails, we learn some details about ashes, though. And oh boy, they are spicy. So, the ashes of the tried that that Adonis uses to repair swords. The ashes of the tried create Nidhogg's. It's not like a chance that maybe the sword will turn good, maybe it will turn bad. No, it always turns bad. It always creates Nidhogg's. Why, though? One might wonder. Well, to create sacred ashes. Sacred ashes are created from a Nidhogg being killed. And why are from a Nidhogg being killed? Right. And why are Nidhoggs created besides that? Well, for the cancer sword to spread, to grow. Right? The ashes of the tried are essentially the spores of the cancer sword. It infects some other people. It feeds the cancer sword, maybe. And when those people die, they leave behind sacred ashes. And their... what was the term they used? Essence? Something like that. Stays with the tree. Which is why we've seen that a lot of the blue-robed priests are the Nidhoggs that were defeated. We've seen Tiziano, we've seen Tyr? No, what was his name? The centaur guy. Yeah, we've seen him as well reappear, but changed. As if a larger portion of their body turned into those, like, writhing, tentacly root things, right? Which really made me think that the cancer sword is Nanomachine's son. Right? It spreads nanomachines to living beings. The nanomachines grow there and create sacred ashes that are also nanomachines that have the power of healing, right? And I don't know, they copy the mind of the infected person into the memory of the cancer tree, so that the cancer tree can remake their bodies and their minds out of nanomachines to serve as priests, right? Something along those lines, probably. What's his face? Priest King asks Adonis if he wants to go through that, maybe. Maybe you also want your consciousness uploaded to the cancer tree. Maybe you also want a mask and a chained sword. How does that sound, right? Sounds good, no? Oh, well, that's a pity. Adonis runs away, of course, because he wants absolutely no part in it, and he probably also feels guilty about, being a part of that scheme, because you can't really call it anything else, right? And he goes for comfort to Belle. Except his idea of comfort is not, getting a hug and talking things out, and maybe going for a walk, maybe getting a lap pillow. No, his idea is to force himself onto Belle, to dissolve her clothes, to bruise her in the process, and to tell her outright, nobody but me would ever want you. So, give it up and give yourself up to me. Not the best way to go about it, I'd say. Right? Thankfully, Kitty the Owl arrives, nibbles on the leg of the bed falls, Adonis and Belle fall off it, and Adonis gets a look at Kitty, not Kitty the Owl, Kitty the Nothing. Gets a look at Kitty the Nothing, looks into his eye, and just fucking runs. Apparently, rabbits are scary. Runs and finds himself consumed, basically, by his grief, by his feeling of not belonging, by his feeling of misery, or whatever it might be. And it kind of bears a certain semblance to the Army of Insatiable Emptiness, right? In this like purple coloring that also appears like something, and Adonis disappears. So as I said early on, we could end this episode in one of two ways. Either Adonis gets his wits back about him and we get him some sort of redemption, or Belle moves out and he moves out with Belle, goes to travel with Belle, or Belle goes to travel alone, perhaps with Kitty, perhaps with maybe Bennett, maybe someone else, I don't know. And Adonis is kind of just left behind, maybe built up to be to also be a nomad, but traveling separately from Belle. Maybe being built up to be the villain. I don't know. We'll see all about that. Also interesting. I was confused early on about why would Cian go to a sword rite to get his sword fixed if Ashes of the Tried can just do that just like that without a problem. I wonder if Ashes of the Tried can fix a sword, but that sword creates Needhogs. Meanwhile, if you go to a sword rite, that sword rite can fix the sword without using Ashes of the Tried, and the sword is safe to use after the fact. I wonder. Did I miss anything from that episode? I don't think so. In the preview, we've seen Adonis being somewhere, seemingly with his wits about him. I don't know what's that gonna be all about. I really don't know what to expect from this episode, especially since this is such a surprising finale that I really don't know how can they finish this in just a single episode. Unless second season has already been announced. I don't know, I haven't checked yet. We're gonna check that after the reaction segment. How's that sound? Good? Good. Okay, so let's just watch it, right? To do that, you're gonna need your subs. Of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, cost nothing, helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching Bye Bye Earth, episode 10, the finale, in 3, 2, 1, go. Sup, Adonis? Whose voice is that? Tiziano? Sounds like Tiziano, doesn't it? Oh, that's the sword, right? That Cian fixed his sword at, or no? Army of Insatiable Emptiness. Well, that's not quite what I expected from Emptiness's headquarters. Adonis's own sword that will not dissolve under his touch. Oh. The sword is dissolving him? Yeah, that's the sword right. Wasn't she also the one who made Belle's sword? Yeah, she is. Rusty nail. It's more like a whip than a sword. Are we going for a villain arc for Adonis? I think we might be. Cian? Cian. For sure. Hmm. Yeah, that's more like it, Belle. That's more like it. Stupor isn't your style. It's understandable, like, no doubt about it, but still not your style. Could probably use some sacred ashes. Where is she actually? You moving out? Oh, Bennett is Benedictine? No. Oh, right. Belle is thinking about the words that she's like changing everything around her. Right? Like she saw that, well, she changed Bennett, Benedictine into Bennett, right? Yeah, just let off some steam. You could say that. One of the like fish girls. Sure. True. And then he bailed. What plan? How would that work? Like it's not that she wants to become a nomad specifically. She just wants to travel to find her origin, and she needs to be a nomad for that. So, okay, you might be something like a nomad without leaving the city, yeah, but she can't find her origin without leaving the city. So it's not gonna work. Yeah. Should have used some sacred ashes for your bruised ribs. Because Adonis took that power away from you. No, you don't. No, you won't. You can't. Your sword can't kill people. Hmm. Nothing personal, kid. Can it regrow? Huh. Okay. Interesting. A sword that ever dies cannot be truly destroyed. I've no clue what they want to do in this episode. Hmm. So what, because his eye is damaged, he can't look after Belle? Or... Okay, sure, makes sense, actually. Like what, left eye, heart is on the left side. What are we talking about right now? Please don't tell me Bennett is gonna try to force himself on Belle as well. What the fuck is going on? Oh, getting some lap pillow. Okay, so makes swords that might see use one day, and they, without fail, see use. Right? Okay. Where is this place? Why is Adonis being trained? I mean, that's kind of the only thing he can do. Yeah, exactly. Oh, so he was scheduled to be Prince Fatal, just like Adonis was now. At Adonis? Or was there something else in the meantime? Wait, are swords just being sold? Is that the sword right? Like young sword right? Yep. Only after meeting Xian? Did she imprint on Xian? Also, that's not a sword. Just thought I'm gonna mention that. Betray? I mean, I wouldn't call it betrayal. Like, you can still come by for tea, or right? Like, you're not stabbing him in the back. Yep, sure enough, she got imprinted on Xian. Okay, so what's that have to do with the army of insatiable emptiness? Wait, is the priest king connected with some wire to somewhere? Well, that looks an awful lot like code, like the Matrix. Hmm. Oh, that was Gibson. Yeah? Yep. Okay, so what? You don't need Ashes of the Tried? Like a freshly made sword can also create a Needhog? Hmm. Okay. I mean, I guess in like deciding the future, it does erase other possible futures. Sure. Hmm. Why? So she gave birth to the army of insatiable emptiness? In a way? Very good question, indeed. Okay. Yeah. Doesn't explain why you need uh, Adonis, though. Hmm. Hmm. The. Hmm. Someone created the whatchamacallit, the cancer swords. Yeah, sword of death, sword of life, essentially. Gotcha. Someone made the swords, the gods, and Belle is like their child, maybe? Something like that? I've no fucking clue what she just said. So what? Touching some boobs dispelled his curse? Because milk? Nowhere. That's a nice get up. Her boobs. uh, okay, so it's named Nowhere, just like what's inscribed on her chest. Okay, so he essentially has control over his curse now. He can selectively rust things, and his sword can change shape. Okay, so we are building Adonis to be a villain. Oh, she's gonna inscribe something on his face? Some curse? Empty? Death? Something like that? Dread? Can't read that. And who the fuck are you? Demon generals? Oh, nowhere on his face. I've got nothing. I've got nothing, man. I've got nothing. What the fuck? Okay, so season 2, cool. What the fuck was this episode? Let's watch it again and try make heads and tails of it. But I'm gonna check if we know of second season. Yes, we do. It has been confirmed indeed for the year of our Lord 2025. I need a moment. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's go through it. Let's rip the fucking band-aid off. So Adonis makes it to the army of insatiable darkness. Gets a sword that is forever rusting, but never actually rusts, right? It's forever in the process of rusting, but never actually rusts. Meanwhile, so it's constantly in the process of dying, but never dies. Meanwhile, Belle's sword is constantly in the process of being born, but never is actually born, right? Life and death, yin and yang, right? Darkness and light, reason and doubt, right? This sort of duality is what we're doing here. Gotcha. Dram, right. The ever-withering force of death, rusty nail. Sure, it's fitting, yeah. I'm gonna restart my webcam briefly because it started to flicker. Rusty nail. And here's Cian. Here to teach Adonis. Why though? Why though? I mean, because he's an Enola, because he's a teacher, because it's his curse. If someone needs teaching, he must teach. Right? Right. Okay. Oh, bell being broken. Very much so. Yeah. I'm actually glad that they made Adonis into a villain. I actually am. I would really not like it if they were trying to to redeem him, it really would not work. So good. I have a sneaking suspicion that in the end Belle kills Adonis, or they somehow merge into one or whatever. Belle kills Adonis, or they unite, I'm gonna say. Maybe they're gonna form a couple and have a kid, and the child is gonna be the child of reason and doubt, or the child of reality, or whatever fucking bullshit they come up with next. I don't know. Whose room is this? Was this Adonis's room? And then she went back to her own? Or was this her room and then she went to whoever's room? I don't know. Yeah, she's broken. I actually appreciate that Belle didn't just get over it, just like that, right? She destroyed the bed. She stood up. She's like, oh, okay, let's not wallow in pity. Let's go do something. Let's go travel or whatever. No, it really weighs on her what Adonis did to her. Partly that, partly perhaps her own failure, partly what she was hoping for Adonis to be. She was hoping for Adonis to be her companion, her partner. She was probably hoping to travel together. And then Adonis just destroyed that hope and then destroyed more. We'll be fighting over farmland. She's after a companion to go journeying with her. No one can stick around by her side except Adonis, right? Our little plan. She wants a traveling companion. I want to show her that we can become something like nomads without leaving Park City. Maybe. I mean, technically, you could even just become a nomad and stay within Park City anyway, right? You could do that without much of an issue. We know that one such nomad stayed with Adonis and his family for a while, right? It's not like nomads are, forced to move, forced to travel. If they don't want to, they can stick around. So, sure, you could maybe become something like a nomad without leaving the city, or you could become straight up a nomad without leaving the city, yeah. But I don't think they know that Belle doesn't want to become a nomad. Belle wants to travel, and to be allowed to travel, she must become a nomad. It's a means to an end, not an end in and of itself. So I don't think they understand that, or Belle never told them. Today we settle things once and for all. Yeah, you really are like... You really could think that it's just a play fight, right? It's like Magic Academy show, the class second A versus class second B are having a fight or whatever during the final exams, or you could be fooled into believing that with how she is eager to fight and to settle things with Guinness, in how lackadaisical Guinness's approach is to it and everybody else's. Yeah, and you could forget that, but then Belle gets wounded, seriously wounded, and now you know that it's not just a play. It's it's really creepy and unsettling is the better word to use here. How those fights, those battles, all of that is just pre-planned. completely and utterly pre-planned. And they don't necessarily even have a reason to fight. They fight just because they're the underdogs and they're the top dogs. Right? There's no other reason to that besides Deus Vult. Why do I feel so powerless? Because Adonis assaulted you. At least in part. Probably that's why. Feeling of powerlessness once you are hurt by someone, it's a common thing. It really is a common thing to feel completely powerless once you're hurt. Yeah, she lost her edge a bit. Start by doubting even your doubts. Break every blade here with your hands and that sword. You'll never beat my daughter in this sorry state. Sword withers without end. Right, it withers without end, so it will never actually wither. Even if someone breaks it, even if someone destroys it, it will not wither it, because it cannot complete the withering. Cool. Completely fucking mind-breaking, but cool. And another bit of that duality between Adonis and Belle. Belle has a sword that can break other swords. Adonis has a sword that cannot be broken. Nowhere. The real Belle has sunk somewhere deep below and she'll drown if she stays there. All mermaids act as guardian spirits in the mental plane counterpart to our world. Okay, that's cool. That's how they imprint. That's why they imprint. That's why they reflect the minds of others. Okay, cool. Cool bit of lore. Or a bit of explanation, I guess. Have you ever thought about how mermaids' physical wounds link to mental ones? What are you trying to say here, Guinness? Because Belle's heart, that's on the left side of the body, is hurt, like metaphorically speaking, mentally speaking, her heart is broken, then because Bennett has a wound on the left side of his body, his left eye is wounded, it's as broken as the left side of Belle's body, and so it will not heal. Is that what it is? Or you don't know why Belle only ever visits your place? Well, I don't know for once. What are they planning? Like, I've no fucking idea. It really sounds like their plan is for Bennett to just slither into Belle's bed and, I don't know, try to provide comfort that way. Well, comfort, quote unquote. But that's the last thing that Belle needs right now. So I'll kill you one day. Why such animosity towards Xian? That's also something that I don't get. Like, you are being trained by him. It's not, you know, that Xian wants to kill you. Why do you want to kill him? I merely give the future form in steel. Right, so she sees that something is going to be necessary in the future. She forms it into steel and it just waits for the right person to arrive, basically. Yeah? Yeah, probably. Does that include Belle's Runding? We don't know that. The answer to our prayers. Are they the baddies? I legitimately don't know. Like, the whole entire aesthetic, it very much screams bad guys, right? Demon Lord and his army and whatnot. But is that the case? Or is it a case of necessary duality again? That, okay, the army of good exists, and the paragon of good, Belle, exists, the paragon of life, and so for world to remain in balance, there is a paragon of death necessary for that, and that's Adonis. And the counterpart to the army of light is the army of darkness, or... I became a teacher to escape my birth as Prince Fatal. Okay. Enola. I find it surprising that swords are just sold in a store just like that. Like, all this time I was under the impression that you grow your own sword, right? Like mages in Dungeon Meshi, for example, right? Marcille had to grow her own staff to fully, like, you know, resonate with it. And I thought that maybe you have to grow your own sword to be, like, truly yours, a part of your body. And that's why people are so upset when their sword gets broken, because it's essentially like part of their soul that they moved into steel and shaped it. But apparently you can just buy a sword. I came to Park City to find the other side of me. I met Gibson. And she decided to go with Xian to grow. She did experience her female form, right. He wants you to carve steel from the divine tree. I thought Rawhide might be attached to the throne, but no, it's just a very long cape tail thing. What future will the divine tree show? And alarms start blaring. Yeah, he's worried. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Interesting. First time we see an expression like that on his face is... It's rejecting me. Who are you waiting for? Yeah, that just looks like the Matrix. That just looks like code. Waiting for Belle, apparently. Divine tree's true nature. Divine rule as Princess Laideronette. Huh. So. I made that sword. You were telling me it infected Gibson's soul. Okay, so a freshly made sword cannot actually infect. It was because Xian gave him the ashes and he used the ashes on his sword and he was infected with the ashes, essentially. Why would Xian give him the ashes, though, if his sword was not broken? Axe, whatever. Because he's the examiner and he just has to? Probably. That God's true power is erasing the future. Erasing the future. I really think that it's a little bit more metaphorical than just, you know, like physically erasing the years starting from the end of time or whatever, but rather in that the god decides the future as it should be cannot come to pass, right? Like, if things were left to their own devices, if the god was not involved whatsoever, entirely possible that Guinness might have ended up as a couple with the fish lady. For example, right? No top dogs, no underdogs, no scheduled battles, none of that, everybody living in harmony, they end up together. For example, that's the future, the actual future that should have happened. But because the god decided top dogs, underdogs, they're gonna fight. And I decide when they're gonna fight. I decide who dies, how many die, on which side. That future that should have been will not be. Instead replaced by what the god decides. Right? I think so. Cancer sword by deciding what the future should be, erases the future that should have been. That's how I understand it, at least. Every sword came out abnormal, blades no one could wield, spells no one could understand. Yeah, some of those really look hard to wield, I gotta say that. Gotta grant her that. Designs that defied all comprehension, yep. About the only decent one was Gav's. Is Gav gonna have like a big role? Gav has a big role to play. The ram carved the spells she engraved on her swords into her own body. To what end, we don't know. That's when I started hearing the voices. The voices of the swords? No. The voices of the army? Despair for the present and endless hope for the future. Yeah, tidbits like this really make me think that each side here might be very gray and ambivalent. Like, the army of insatiable emptiness is there because they're insatiable for future, because the future is empty because of the god. And so they crave the future and want to create the future. Right? Like, something like that. What exactly are you people trying to make me do? And of course we don't get like a proper straight answer, we just get, we need someone to doubt reason. Yeah, because Belle is the girl of reason. She will demolish our ancient order and bring a new world into being. Right, she will demolish the current sensibilities and reason of the world and introduce her own. We still know nothing about her origins. Behind her lies the true god who dispatched the Deus Ex Machina. Right, so, theory. Theory that kind of plays into my other theory that the Deus Ex Machina, that the Cancer Sword is made of nanomachines or whatever. And that they actually might be like terraforming machines. Belle is a daughter of whoever created the Cancer Swords. Belle is the, I'm gonna say, child of whoever created Cancer Swords and sent them to other planets. Maybe it's some sort of a escape mechanism, right? Like they launched Belle alongside a bunch of nanomachines that are supposed to terraform. Belle, everything landed on random planet. The nanomachines embedded themselves as the gods, as the Cancer Swords, and started terraforming the planet. And when the planet was suitable enough to sustain life, that's when the stasis crystal broke and released Belle. Maybe? Is that going too far? I don't think so. Belle and Nanoma Shins were sent to some planet when NM gods terraformed it. The stasis crystal escape pod released Belle, right? Behind her lies the true god who dispatched Deus Ex Machina. Dispatched, right? Not created, dispatched. Someone created Deus Ex Machina and sent it somewhere, and that someone is behind Belle. So either directly a parent or directly a species of like pure blood humans, or right? To dispatch Deus Ex Machina to rule the realms of paradise in the ancient age of gods. I've got nothing here. I think it's just their interpretation. The vision of the future you left in Runding. I made that sword of steel yet to ripen, it is forever being born. Right. And your it rusts to nothing. Only because you define your curse that way. You are the wellspring of your curse, the true identity of what fills your world with enmity and hate. You're telling me it was that simple. What was that simple? I don't get it. Like, is this because Adonis is filled with enmity and hates the curse so much because it destroys, then the curse keeps destroying? But if he lets go of that hate and enmity, then the curse will not destroy? Or is it more like, you know, I was born without a mother, so I grew up without drinking mother's milk, so I touched a boob and I got the milk, and that broke the curse? Or also, wait, what the fuck? Born without a mother? The fuck do you mean, born without a mother? Or, right, his mother died during childbirth, but this implies that he was born without, like, having a mother, like, I don't know, spawned out of a cabbage or whatever. But I think they just mean that he was born and his mother died during birthing. Probably. Nowhere. Yeah, good fight. Nowhere. To truly doubt has no meaning. It doesn't even need a reason. Whatever you say, mate. Whatever you say. Whatever I question with this sword just withers forever, as the darkness of the future swallows it whole. I really don't know whether they are trying to portray darkness as a good thing oriented towards future, or are they trying to portray future as a dark and evil thing? I give you the fangs of the army of insatiable emptiness, child of darkness. The army will render its own theme unshakable. The theme of emptiness? Nowhere. And we see some characters that have like a good and proper design. I'm assuming they're gonna be the equivalent of demon generals that Belle is gonna have to fight. Belle will have to fight and kill Adonis's demon generals, mermaid, bull, and goat. Mermaid, bull, goat. Nowhere, 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 nowhere. For the girl of reason. I thought for a moment that she had the like symbols like on the like in the tree in her eyes, but no, they're just normal eyes. Spiral, howling sword, rusty nail. Moonwork, to do as the moon, or just the name of the fucking company that made the piano. I can never sing again. I mean, at least she's better. God damn it, man. Okay. So, theories. Oh, fucking hell. God damn it. This show, I swear. Oh, we're gonna have a lot to go through, although I feel like a lot of that is just gonna be left behind because we still have another season, so. Anachronistic attire. Animal people are humans who evolved the animal traits or gained them through science. We didn't know that. Current planet was colonized by humans. We didn't know that. Belle is strong because human. Death Worlders. We didn't know that. The name of your sword binds you. If it says teacher, you can only use your powers to teach. I mean, that's basically confirmed, right? I think that's basically confirmed. Belle's sword says utopia, so she can only use her powers to make the world a better place. I'd say so. Yeah, I'm gonna say yellow. I'm gonna say yellow because probably, but I'm not 100% sure. Magical script that gives items a purpose and power to fulfill it. Pipe named Smoke. We really haven't seen items having names besides Cian's pipe and swords, so I'm not sure. Belle is from futuristic Earth, got isekai or stranded on a different planet. We don't know that. We are on the moon of some planet. Safe to assume, but we don't know that. Binary planet system. We don't know that. We are on Earth's moon, but terraformed. Maybe, but we don't know that. Gadin Yggdrasil is really some supercomputer thing. Maybe, we don't know that. Heavy role of music. I mean, yeah, very heavy role of music. Absolutely very heavy role of music. Army of Emptiness are all humans, right? They did not have animalistic traits, but we've already seen the bull, the mermaid, and the goat, so no, they are not all humans. Every living being is a part of a network besides Belle. Moon was terraformed with music. Child of Reason is here to notice and question all the weird shit. We don't know that. Sacred ashes are made in an unseemly way. Ground down swords, corpses, infants, etc. Yes. Are made in an unseemly way. Ground up corpses. Ground down corpses, yeah. Not swords, not infants, not etc. The world is a simulation, maybe. Kitty can control the simulation, maybe. The omnipotent machine is running the world as if it was a simulation game. Nomads discover the unreasonableness of the world. Not really their goal, is it? I don't think so. Swords grow as they kill living beings. Maybe we don't have a direct confirmation. Seeing reason is like atheism. That's why the god wants to prevent it. Maybe. Kitty can control properties of objects at will. Maybe. Belle has no connection to the world, can't sense it. Maybe. Belle was blasted away in an escape pod like Kal-El from Krypton, suspended in a time-stopped pocket dimension. Maybe. The escape pod was the egg she was born from. Maybe. If a sword is fixed, it can become cancerous. Yes, actually. Well, not directly by being fixed, by using ashes of the tried, but close enough. Cancerous sword needs conscious suppression. If the suppression drops, the wielder becomes a host for the sword cancer. I don't think it works that way. I think it just turns you, no matter what kind of suppression you might employ. Tiziano getting news about her loved one dying made her drop the suppression. Doubt. God Tree was a human god that got overtaken by a cancer sword. People of Paradise being Earthlings. Probably, but we don't know that. Earth as Eden, maybe. Earthlings, anything aliens. Ersatz gods, maybe. Sword growing is alien tech, maybe. Substitute alien for elder gods, could very well be. Fixing a sword makes its name backfire. Right, sword named Control controls the wielder. Not really. Not really, no. We haven't really seen that happen. And we know that the sword just controls you, period, if it turns out cancerous. Belle's gem color is an indicator of something. Turning red from inert purple. Yeah, it's probably an indicator of something, we just don't know what. Sion saves Will from losing because he's the only one Will is allowed to lose to. That's a Wistoria theory that made its way into this for some reason. But no, I don't think that happened. So the voice that Belle hears sometimes comes from a sci-fi implant. Right, there's also the voice that Belle hears at times. What the fuck is with that? We know that whatever the fuck the name is of the sword right mermaid, she hears voices. Belle hears voices. What the fuck's wrong with that? Belle can kill Needhogs because they're creatures purely evil. Their existence is against Utopia. We don't know that. My bet is that because they are made of sword, and that's why she can kill them. But I'm gonna leave it be. Battles between top dogs and underdogs feed the tree with souls, not keep balance. Yeah, I'd say so. The divine tree is seeking death, but the religion will not allow it to come to harm. Earth. Each country has its own god. Countries are separated by magical barriers. Being a nomad makes a person able to cross the barriers, but also an exile from every country. Belle is able to use her sword to pass through because Utopia is the world without barriers. Oyuki real world writing is divine. Ashes of the Tried are spores of divine tree. We don't have proper confirmation. Divine Tree Cancer is nanomachines. Swords are made of nanomachines. Ashes are nanomachines. Divine Tree keeps a record of the essence of Needhogs, can recreate them from its cells, nanomachines, to serve as priests. Cancer sword gods are terraforming machines, and the rest are like theories of this episode alone. Safe to say, not a lot is known either way. Boy, that was tiring. So, today's episode. It went over my head, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, I get the vibes, and I get the themes. I get the vibe and the theme of duality between Belle and Adonis, right? Birth and death, life, birth and withering, life and death, light and darkness, right? Sure, okay, I get that. I get that not everything is black or white, because the army of insatiable darkness, sure, they are the force of death, they are the force of withering, but they also hunger for a future, which is generally a good thing, right? So there is that grayness there. I get that bit here. That Adonis is Belle's counterpart to the underworld, where Belle is the girl of reason who's supposed to change this world for the better. Actually, what's the goal of the Army of Darkness? Emptiness, whatever. Future. Sure. But that doesn't stand in opposition to what Belle wants to achieve. Belle wants to shake up the very roots of this world, the very foundation of it, and challenge the reason of this world and create her own reason. Kinda, sorta. Which doesn't stand opposed to having future. So that bit doesn't check out. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe you guys got a better read on this episode. I would be really curious to hear your thoughts on this matter in the comments, because I'm kinda at a loss. Like, I'm just operating mostly purely on vibes here. Again, the vibe of duality, the vibe of one cannot exist without the other, of reason needs doubt, and doubt needs reason, right? Stuff like that, sure. Very abrupt ending at the same time. I gotta say, it really feels, especially with this like after credit scene, it really feels like this show was planned for double core maybe, but something didn't work out with scheduling, so they decided to split it in two in a very unorthodox way, rather than, I don't know, rather than lowering the quality or having delays every other episode or something like that. Maybe that's what they did. I don't know. I'm not sure. It really was abrupt. And did this episode feel like an ending? I don't know. I'm not sure, man. I have no idea. I have no clue. I have no clue what it felt like. I'm glad it established Adonis as I'm not gonna say villain, but antagonist, though. That I actually understand, and that I actually like. It would be very hard to redeem Adonis just like that. I was kind of afraid that's what's gonna happen. Thankfully, no. Thankfully, he's actually being established as an antagonist. That might work. That might actually work. So cool. That bit is fine. Belle is gonna have to go through an entire process of healing, mentally and physically. So that's gonna be a whole nother thing. And apparently Bennett and Guinness have some plan to help her, and some plan to keep her in the city as kinda sorta nomad, but not really a nomad. Which is interesting if that's actually what they intend to do with her. If they actually intend to like keep her in the city instead of sending her on a journey. It would be unexpected for sure. I wonder. Man, there are so many unknowns, so many questions. Huh. It was a fine episode, I guess. I didn't dislike it, I was mostly just completely fucking dumbfounded and gobbly smacked or whatever fucking other words there are for utterly confused throughout the most of the runtime. That sure, it had like fun, entertaining vibes. So there is that. I guess it set up some things. It kind of sort of answered some questions, but not really. It posed some additional questions. It set up a like a I don't know status quo for the second season where we have Belle versus Adonis, reason versus doubt, yada yada yada. Yeah, decent episode, I guess. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all I have to say about this episode. Now about the show as a whole. About the show as a whole. I'm actually unsure what to say. This show is absolutely masterful. This story is absolutely masterful in creating a world that is utterly incomprehensible and yet internally consistent. That's probably the highest praise I can give it. Where a character says, here's a bushel of carrots. No, sorry, not carrots. Eating vegetables is evil after all, right? Here's a bushel of carrot moles for you. I sung them into growing yesterday. Or, right, some sort of bullshit like that. And you're sitting there like, oh, yes, actually, yeah. Like, carrot moles, that makes perfect sense after all. Singing them to grow, that also makes perfect sense, right? It's just ravings of a madman, but it really makes you wonder if that madman maybe actually makes sense in a way. So that's absolutely masterful. It has some good characters. Belle, I really like Belle as a character in general. I really like her very like tomboyish energy, especially in this episode. It was really really good to me, really good to see her get out of her stupor, destroy the bed, and then decide to go somewhere else and swing her sword and get it out of her system. Right, that was cool. I was kind of afraid that she's either gonna give in completely to her urge to destroy, or she's gonna be completely just stuck in a catatonic state or something like that. But no, there was a nice middle ground, and she also didn't get over it, quickly. She actually works like a human would. So that's cool. That's cool to see. I really like Belle as a character. Any other characters worth mentioning? We don't really spend that much time with other characters, do we? Adonis, most of all. I'm ambivalent on Adonis. I really am. It really feels like Adonis is playing into the what has been preordained for him. Right? Like that's a whole another thing that I kinda didn't mention. There's that whole talk in the army of insatiable emptiness that they are all about the future and that the god took the future away, destroyed the future or whatever, and yet they all work with what was preordained, right? They, you could say, fulfill the god's plan still. They don't work against it, right? Xian doesn't work against his curse. He's not a rebel. He's a conformist through and through. Adonis is not a rebel. The Sword Rite is not a rebel. Army of Insatiable Emptiness is probably a part of God's plan. Right? So that's also interesting, like just how much of it is preordained and by whom, and to what end and to what degree. I really am ambivalent on Adonis. I'm not sure if he like fully works for me as a tragic character even. a lot of his tragedy, I guess, kind of feels like it's caused by just him being a dunce, right? Like, instead of talking or trying to solve those problems or whatever, he's just starting to wallow in pity. Instead of rebelling against the god, he just plays right into its hands, or I don't know. I don't know. We haven't spent much time with other characters, so I can't really talk much about them. I like Kitty. I like that Kitty is always there to help Belle. I like that Kitty is a completely mysterious character, basically an eldritch god. Right, that's basically Kitty. He can do whatever, he can appear whenever, he just appears whenever he's needed, right? There's some very interesting stuff going on with him. The story. Man, I don't even understand the story. Besides the basic thing of Belle wants to find her roots. So, I mean, yeah, that works. Sure. The rest is just incomprehensible. Have a nice day. So I can't really talk much about that. Love the music in this show. Like, you can hear that it's Kevin Penkin doing a large chunk of that. It has some good animation on like just the technical standpoint. I like the art of it. I really like the character design and the backgrounds and the world, how it was created. That's really cool. I really do enjoy that, like just purely visually. Just, it's a show that you should be able to just turn off your brain and just watch it for the spectacle in a way. So that's cool. It's a weird show, but I don't regret watching it. And whenever season 2 comes out, I'm gonna watch it as well. Because I need my answers. I doubt I'm gonna get all of them, but I need at least some. Right? I need at least like some of those sheets of paper to be covered in either green or orange and not just left blank and empty, right? At least some, not everything. I'm not asking for too much, but at least some answers, please. I need it. What an utterly confusing episode, and an utterly confusing finale to an utterly confusing season of an utterly confusing show. That's how I'm gonna sum it up. And now I'm gonna take a shower and I'm gonna go to sleep because my brain is fucking burning. Yeah, in any case, I had fun with this episode. I had fun with this show in, my own way of being able to just write so much stuff about that. Although, there's also Wistoria, another show where I'm also able to write down a lot of theories, and I have like a better, bigger hope that those answers will actually be provided and show that I can actually comprehend and understand. So, there's something to be said about the difference between a show where you know that something is a mystery and it's gonna have a payoff and it's gonna have an answer, and you see something is a mystery but it's a complete crapshoot whether it's gonna be answered or not, because maybe they're just gonna say it is what it is, or maybe it's actually a mystery, or maybe it's never gonna be addressed. So, creating theories because you just don't know anything and are trying to fill the void, versus creating theories because you actually can see the questions that the story creates for you. I don't know. I like both. I enjoy both. I enjoy speculating and theory crafting, so both are fine by me, but I can absolutely see Bye Bye Earth not being a show for everybody. I can absolutely see someone watching like the first 2 episodes saying, what the fuck is this shit, and completely tuning out. I'm glad it exists though, for sure. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I think that's gonna be it from me for today. So maybe you guys, tell me. I'm really curious. What did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories, this show as a whole? tell me all about it in the comments down below. No spoilers for season 2 whenever it's coming. You can talk spoilers on my Discord if you like. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos, no longer Bye Bye Earth, but we still have Spice and Wolf, Wistoria that I mentioned before, Isekai Shikkaku, and QA Isekai, and plenty others coming in the future as always. Click the bell to be notified when those videos go out and when I go live, because I stream sometimes. Support the channel if you want to monetarily on Patreon down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube, memberships, super thanks, super chats, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without an Edza, Rainy, Sam Greenwood, Yuki Ally, Dr. Watt, Akamaser, Marsh, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to become a general of the army of insatiable emptiness, or whatever the fuck Adonis became.